Mm, 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 mm. Hi there, my friends. How are you today? Welcome back to Lorene's Bits and Pieces. And today we will be diving back into one of my favorite cookbooks, the Edmonds cookbook. And this is the New Zealand cookbook. It is a family favorite staple in every New Zealander's cupboard. And today I'm actually just using it loosely as a reference guide, but I will put up this recipe for you to reference if you like. And today we're going to be doing a happy little favorite from my childhood, and it was before the days of microwaves. Well, before the days of when microwaves were readily available in everybody's home. And my mum used to bake up these beautiful stuffed baked potatoes, and we would, devour them like hungry little hippos whenever we were treated with them, because we understood that it was a treat. It did take Mum quite a while to do them, and when she was busy lady, she had a little baby at home, and she had kids to take care of and housework and all that sort of stuff. So when we got these wee treats, we were absolutely ecstatic. And of course, I love potatoes. I'm a big potato fiend. I can have potatoes just like Bubba Gump has his shrimp in many different forms. So you will see from today, we will actually do these stuffed jacketed potatoes in two different ways. One with them using the advantage of a microwave, and one using the traditional way of using the oven. So let's get on to the oven version first, because it does take a little bit longer. And here we go with our recipe for stuffed baked potatoes. We will be using 2 medium potatoes in the oven and 2 medium potatoes in the microwave, just so you can see what the difference is. And I will be doing a slight little tweak to the microwave oven one. We've got a couple of tablespoons of oil, half a cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of butter, salt, black pepper, 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley, half a cup of grated tasty cheese, and half a teaspoon of paprika. So my potatoes have already been scrubbed, so let's just get moving on with these recipes, shall we? Alrighty, we have our 4 potatoes here, and they have been washed and dried. They're ready to go. Now in this recipe it says to scrub the potatoes, brush with oil, and bake at 180 degrees for 1 to 1.5 hours or until soft. So one thing that they have left out is a little step to do with a fork. And what you do is you have to stab your potato just a few times with a fork, because otherwise you might end up with what I had one time, and I'll insert a photo here somewhere to show what happens if you don't pierce holes in your potatoes before you put them in the oven for baked potatoes. And it's the same with microwave potatoes as well. You still need to do the old holes in just stab it a few times. Now 2 of these are going to go aside for the microwave, 2 of them I will keep out for the oven. It doesn't really matter which ones, it's just that these ones are a little bit bigger, just a smudge, not by much. So I'd like to have those in the oven today, and we are going to get on to just putting a little bit of oil on these little babies. Just, there we go. You know me, I'm a hands-on cook. So let's just rub them all over with oil, just like that. And I've got a tray that is all set up on the side there with some baking paper. Go. So there's those ones on the tray. We will now be putting these little babies into the oven, which is preheated to 180 degrees for an hour and a half. Into the oven, and that is set at 180 degrees for an hour and a half. So the recipe is asking for the 2 microwaved ones, which I've just rubbed in oil, to go into the microwave for 12 to 16 minutes and then continue as above. So I've not done more than 1 potato in the microwave at once, so I'm actually going to just do 1 potato at a time. And the way that I normally do it for a potato this size, which there's the size of my fist, there's the size of potato, for a potato this size, I would normally do 4 minutes putting it in one side, 4 to 5 minutes one side, 4 to 5 minutes the other side, and then see how it's going. So that makes it 8 to 10 minutes in the microwave. And of course it depends on your microwave. The microwave that I've got is at the moment is not that strong a microwave. I have used much stronger microwaves where 4 minutes was absolutely plenty each side, but this one's more like a 5-minute kind of a job. So we'll pop them in the microwave and see how we go with those ones. Okay, so there is our potato. She's in the little microwave. We've set the microwave to 5 minutes. Let's shut the old door, press start, and away she goes. Alright, that first 5 minutes is done. And she's starting to get a little bit squishy at the top, but she's still really squishy at the bottom. So that's why I flip them over. I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually a real color difference between the top and the bottom. So we will get to and flip it over, do another 4 minutes on this side and see how we go. Maybe 5. No. 4. Alright. And away around she goes again. Alright. We are done. And yep, we're nice and wrinkly and soft. So now we're going to take this and I'm just going to pop it on the bench and replace it with the other one. Okay, here we go. Number 2. Into the microwave. 5 minutes. Start. And away she goes. Alrighty, so these are now the 2 microwave potatoes that have come out. You see they're all very nice and soft and squishy. Now you can literally chop them open and eat them just like that, and I have been known to do that. But when I make stuffed jacketed potatoes, I actually like the skin to be a little bit tougher than that. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pop them into the oven, which is already on because the other ones are in there, and bake it for about 10 minutes just to help crispy up that skin a little bit, so that when we have to chop the top of it like taking the middles of it out and mashing it and stuff and putting it back in, these skins are going to be a little bit more sturdy to be able to handle all of that manipulation and stuff that we've got to do with it. So we'll pop these in the oven now to finish crispying up on the outsides, and then I'll see you again in 10 minutes. So while we're waiting for the microwaved potatoes to do their thing, I thought we'd just get to and start bringing some of these other ingredients together. Just chop up this parsley. I've used continental parsley today. For me, I prefer continental parsley in things like salads and stuff like that, because the flat leaf really is pleasant for me to eat. I find the traditional parsley with its very rough edges to be quite scratchy on my throat, and I don't really enjoy it very much. But with something like this, the traditional parsley is absolutely fine, and in a pinch you can always use dried parsley if you like. No big deal. Today I have some here ready to be used, so let's use it all up. And that is just about fine enough. Just make sure we haven't got any massive big chunky bits of parsley sitting there. Nice to be able to spread it out throughout the potatoes. And of course I have to divide this in half, because half will be for the oven version and half will be for the microwave version. Next we have to do some grated cheese. So I have our tasty cheese here, and we need roughly about half a cup of tasty cheese, and we'll be spreading that over the 4 potatoes as well. Not too bad. A little bit of extra for sprinkling on the top. So that's that ready to go. Put that over there. Divide that in half. Because of course the microwave ones will be ready to go well before the oven ones. The other thing that I'm going to add to these is some yummy ham. So this is approximately 100 grams of shaved ham, and I'm just going to slice that up fine into little, I'm just going to dice it up. You don't have to put ham in your potatoes if you don't want to. It's totally fine. You can stick to the recipe as it is, and which has just got basically the parsley, the cheese, some butter, salt and pepper, a bit of milk, and a bit of paprika, and that's it. But I actually really love this, and I'll also be including a little bit of minced garlic in my mixes as well, because I can't be bothered chopping up onion today, so minced garlic will work in just fine. Alrighty, these 2 little beauties are out of the oven. They have firmed up a little bit with the skins. I actually put the oven on fan bake for that 10 minutes just to help that out a little bit. Please use a tea towel to protect your little hands from the heat of the potato. And then what we do is we take our knife and we just gently come across the top there, and we'll cut off the lid. As kids, we used to fight over the lids because the lids wouldn't get used again. So it was always either cook's treat or whoever of us kids got into the kitchen first. And now we'll take these and we will scoop out the center. Alright, so now we take our spoon, try not to get your tea towel in your bowl, and gently, very gently, scoop out the insides of your potato. Now because these ones have been microwaved, the skins are a lot more fragile, hence the reason why I popped them in the oven for just that 10 minutes or so. If you wanted to stretch it out to 15, that certainly wouldn't hurt them at all. There's that. And it's sometimes even a good idea just to leave a little bit more flesh on the skins. We're not doing too badly today. These ones. And what I'll do is, while I'm mashing up the insides, so mixing it all together, I actually pop these back in the oven, just the skins, to continue to crisp up for just that little bit more. Alright, so I'm going to pop these back in the oven now because they're cool enough to handle. See, that one is already starting to go brrr, but no fears at all, it's all good. We'll pop these back in the oven now, and while we deal with this lot. Alright, so I will add all the milk that was required. Microwaves can do interesting things to the fluid levels of potatoes, so that's just something to be aware of. Even if a recipe calls for, you know, a whole amount of that milk, you might need more, you might need less, it just depends on the potato. So let's mix in the cheese, the ham, parsley, silk pepper. Let's give all of that a nice big mix up. So as you can see, with that milk going into the potato, it's pretty much cooled it completely down again. Okay. And that's important to note, and that's why we have to pop it back into the oven for a period of time. So at this stage, if you wanted to do something really exciting or a little bit radical, you could even put tomatoes in here, you could put pineapple in here, or you could put capsicum, you could put all sorts of things in at this stage. But we'll keep it reasonably simple today, and I'll just go and grab those potato skins out of the oven. There's our potato skin, and I'm now going to very gently fill this potato skin with this filling. And now we need to pop these two. We've got to sprinkle a little bit more cheese on the top and also add a little bit of paprika. Alrighty, there's our little potatoes. They've got cheese on the top with some paprika sprinkled, and I'll pop them back in the oven now for 5 to 10 minutes until that cheese is all nice and melty and lovely and warmed right there. Alrighty, these are ready to come out. You can see the little tips of them are going brown, which is just perfect. So let's pull those out now. Meanwhile, the others still have about 14 minutes to go. So at the end of the day, doing them in the microwave or doing them like this in the oven, really, it probably saves you maybe about, well, let's see, we've got 14 minutes left to do of the cooking. Then we still have to scoop them out and mash them up and then re-put them back in and then put them in to cook again for another, 10 to 15 minutes or so. So that's going to take another half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. So it's about another 40 minutes. So doing them in the microwave might save you about 40 minutes. Whereas doing them in the oven, okay, it takes you a bit longer, but seriously, while they're cooking, you can go off and do a bunch of other things. You can chuck them in there and have, with the thought of going, okay, I know that when they come out, I've still got about 40 minutes, half an hour to 40 minutes, or half an hour of, unstuffing them, scooping them out, and putting all the ingredients in there, popping them back and putting them back in the oven. So it's up to you really. Personally, I prefer the traditional way in the oven. The potato flesh itself is just a little bit, I don't know, less rubbery. I guess is the easy way to say it. But we'll do a little taste test, put them side by side, do a little taste test and see what we think. Timer has gone off. They've been in here for an hour and a half now. So let's pull them out and chop their tops off, scoop them out, mix them up, and then pop them back in. Okie dokie, you've already seen this process, so let's just zip right through it. And now in they go for another 10 to 15 minutes till all of that lovely cheese is melted and browning. Oh yeah, they are done. Yum yum. Alrighty, so as you can see, they're all done and dusted now. These ones here are from the microwave version, and these ones here are from the traditional oven version. And as you can see, the traditional oven version, the skins are still nice and plump. There's a little bit of crispiness to them. They, height-wise, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I turn this plate around. Ah, there you can see. You see how different they are height-wise. And I really think that that is because all the moisture that was microwaved out of these little puppies was retained in this one. I put exactly the same ingredients in and into these ones as I did these ones. I filled them up exactly the same way. These ones have sort of puffed out a bit more. I put them in the oven for just the same amount of time for that browning stage. So it's up to you, my friends, as to which way you want to go. Personally, I would prefer this way than this way. Alright, so let's have a little taste, shall we? Alright, so let's cut into these little beasties. So this is the microwave ones. I do love that crispy bit at the bottom. Oh. And you'll see that it's plenty mushy enough. There's plenty of fluid in there. Looks good. Let's cut into the oven version. Oh, microwave one, get out of the way. Cute. And of course, different types of potatoes will give you different results with your potato skins as well. Can't stop me now. Crispy brown, the crispy bottom is absolutely delicious for the tasting afterwards, of course. And if you're having a look at that, doesn't that look absolutely amazing? I'm salivating at the thought of it. Oh, yum yum. Alrighty, let's have a little taste, shall we? The microwave one first. So here's the microwave one. It really is just this gorgeous taste of home. It's a real, true comfort food that just melts in your mouth. And even though that skin is not as crispy necessarily as I would like it, it still just tastes amazing. Amazing. And now for the Happy Days oven traditional one. Mm. 110% yes! Oh my god! You get the burst of the ham, you get the burst of the cheese, you get the burst of the parsley. It's just boom, 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 boom in your mouth. It's not all smushed into one. It's just like, oh my god, it tastes so good. And then it's like the after flavor of the potato skin is just rounds it out so beautifully with those earthly flavors. Oh my goodness. Well, good thing I didn't have too much for lunch today, because this is going to be lunch and dinner all together. But in saying that, These will actually keep until tomorrow just fine, and I can even heat them up or have them cold tomorrow. So with that, there is so many things that you can do with stuffed jacketed potatoes. I have seen them with an egg inside if you want to do a bit of egg. You know, obviously you're not going to need as much filling, so you take out your filling, put in some around the edges, and then you can put a whole egg. We'll break it out of the shell first, obviously. Put that in there and then cover it over the top or leave it open, it's up to you. Sprinkle a bit of cheese on the top. Yum. I have seen them as full vegetarian with like whatever substitutes. Instead of using butter, you might use a little bit of oil as your lubricant instead of butter. Or did we even put butter in that one? No, we didn't. We just put milk. So whatever version of lubricant you've got, I have actually used, instead of milk, I've actually used stock, like chicken stock, as a way to moisten up the potato to get that nice mashed potato thing. I have done so many things with this recipe. It really, that's the beautiful thing about working with potatoes. They are so forgiving, and there's just so much you can do with them and so many different flavor profiles you can put with them, and they are just an incredible vegetable. So I might be a little bit biased, but I have to say these potatoes freaking are rocking my world today. So I'd love to know, put it down in the comments below, what's your favorite way to have potatoes? And I would love to see what sort of flavor profiles that you connect with potatoes, and we'll see, maybe I'll do something with that in a future episode. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I am so incredibly grateful for you, and if you want to watch another of my videos, have a look up over on this side, and if you would like to subscribe, I'd be eternally grateful. Click up on the link over this way. Other than that, be bold, be brave, be you, my beautiful friends, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Perfect.